a year first deputy speaker.
Yeah.
Able to be Atwaba.
Yeah.
Our parliament. We know all what the constitution says and what the standing orders of parliament say. Minority in describing that move, they say as a parliamentary coup.
Yeah.
Do you agree with what the Supreme Court said?
Yes, I think baby, you create problems for ourselves, and we risk losing this particular democracy. Because when you look around, you can admit there is tension everywhere around, and economically people are complaining. A veil of certain desperation is hovering around that atmosphere. So you expect power wielders to behave in a manner a bit just to achieve that particular coercion. And yes, I know break here. So in such a charged atmosphere, you expect people armed with authority and constitutional powers to behave in a manner a bit na charged atmosphere na yete hono explode na engine free nyina yensem. Yes, say obi asem na call parliament call Supreme Court and Supreme Court ruling hono. If you want to pick it from a constitutional point of view, and if you want to make fair argument, it makes sense. Say Yebeja Tum say deputy speaker Entwaba. That's my position. Because the argument will be like, okay, Papa no or ye MPO, ya Twaba man or representing nipa our parliament. Enti adentina obetena speaker akunwa mu a eno enti no olusu ne vote na onya adaje onya kwan and representing nipa by voting that particular way, no, it is not fair. So if you limit the discussion to that particular level without considering other factors that play even at parliament, then you will be quick enough to rule say, oh yes, and say to balance the scales, say justice. But as a Supreme Court, I was expecting them to look beyond the constitutional provision and look at other critical factors. I warranted that particular decision. If you go to parliament right now, speaker akumyana team no speaker na nyenipa so nimza. Let us assume the speaker no take Babin out of the speaker out of the chair and look at the speaker chair. Ghana, your rule is when somebody sits in that particular chair, no, you assume a posture of neutrality. You're supposed to be fair and firm. You're supposed to be resolute, and you're supposed to be impartial. That is what the chair comes with. So you may be an MP representing your people, but once you become a deputy speaker of parliament, don't forget that when you go to court and make argument, it is not fair. Or representing the party, a man and twaba, you deny and for no opportunity to vote. You are also forgetting about the other way the other like privileges that come with the position. Because there are a lot of privileges that come with being a deputy speaker. Even among your own colleagues, they respect you. They accord you certain respect because you are a deputy speaker. And beyond that, there are certain privileges that you are accorded that your other colleagues don't have it. So in this particular vein, you are accepting the privileges, but where you are supposed to let your first vote go and decide on other issues, that particular thing you are not interested. That is what I'm saying. If the Supreme Court had taken judicial notice of the fact, these are the kind of events that play out in Parliament, maybe the decision would have been different. Because I don't support the argument that Parliament is supposed to be an independent way. No organ in government, organ has a independent. So Parliament may not be overly independent. But I've always argued, until the activities of Parliament are transgressing on legal prohibition, a clear-cut constitutional provision, a breach as a straightforward infraction on the constitutional provision, the Supreme Court can regulate. But until that, so wait me, the activities of Parliament are transgressing on a particular legal your friends a prohibition, you're not supposed to move in because Parliament is a body on its own. A feed from best practice, best democratic practices, and as a best democratic practices around the world. More rules of engagement or more within Parliament and no feed it back from the Constitution. And I think it's common around the world. In the US, for instance, Senate now more in such a way, say, what speaker chair you are not neutral because Pelosi belongs to the Democrats and Otuaba argument here bibia Oko Yuka is different. The speaker and Tuaba. What I say this a do point where a tie, then you vote to break it. And if you, some of them even have convention. There is this thing called Denison rule. Rule in the say Tuaba say paya or Parliament rule which say you lose. The motion is lost. So the speaker will not vote for the tie. He will vote against the tie. Say intimate breaking just to afford Parliament the next opportunity for further deliberation. What I say? Because on this speaker, he still want to assume that posture of neutrality. And the side and side, he will vote against the tie, and they give you another opportunity to go argue among yourself to make sure someone can break the tie. No? These are things play out elsewhere. So the question is, so the way Supreme Court ruling about Bontina, or say we see a man of Kwaman and Tuaba, what Tuaba nibi. So I know the day no on the deputy speaker, Yamana Kwaman Tuaba, Yatuaba ni we say even though what to be a paya a banner. Are we going to have a speaker who is going to break the tie again? And I say, Rebecca motion is lost. Is that you see? They are just driving us into a realm of constitutional absurdity, and I sense there is an overreach of your friends, a judicial arm into the eye of the judicial of the legislature.
Don't you think so?
And it's unfortunate.
Don't you think so? All these things are coming up because the majority group in Parliament, is refusing to accept the fact that there's something we call a hunk parliament.
Yeah, and that is the problem. You see, so we had the attitude, the posture of people of the majority, and even the government itself. Across KG classroom, yeah, the parliament we nature coach. We say, oh, parliament we dance on better. There must be a consensus building all along the way. What I say. So you don't assume a posture where you disrespect, you throw shade, you try to use buga means to take people off parliament and do all these things. You need to work together. So over the years, this useless politics, parliament, NDC, MPP politics, emotions, charge, then this is the time to set that particular aside, where you have majority and the minority working together to ensure say Ghana interest will prevail. But that isn't the posture. Maybe but the president and the government thinks because they are in power, they can just get away with everything. I think that is what is informing all these things that is coming up. Because ordinarily, the right thing to do at this particular time is to assume a posture that will make me engender confidence in Obia, together to achieve common good. But it's not about the common good. It is always about the partisan interest prevailing over the national interest. So I know the day, Japan, Japan the bank for you or Munjintum because Muslim say a chronon abusian for the Bababo on the bottom. So if that is the case, then the making sure say we have the majority, even though it's a hung parliament, so that we can just get away with everything. And it's the reason why we are here. Because if you look at what is coming, we see Supreme Court ruling people have taken a lot of positions. Even constitutional lawyers, I have listened to a couple of guys. 2 days ago, I spoke to a professor who is a law professor, and his views on this particular thing was very interesting and mind-boggling on this particular matter. A sharp deviation from what the Supreme Court agreed on, because the argument is a parliament. It's a body on its own, a rule, a tribal on certain rules. They have their customs and they have their conventions. Because the Supreme Court is here, and I say, President and appointed Supreme Court judge. So case ba na say why a better court no a better case in so no. Sole discretion of the judiciary and the Chief Justice to determine who sits on the case. What I say, nobody from the outside can go and ask the Supreme Court your friend say Chief Justice say na adentina ajenim the case bia o da ajenim tena so and I say adentina case bia e bia wunu e dia ye hu say watena case ba kokora so adentia. Nobody is questioning the Chief Justice because that is the sole prerogative given to him. He's supposed to exercise that particular discretion and then office the right. So that particular right, even though people may have questions, people may have misgivings concerning some of the panel normal set up or not, but because you are not armed with that particular authority, nobody is questioning the Chief Justice. He's doing his thing. So within Parliament, They have rules of engagement, the way they do about their things. The first deputy speaker is not voting because chair and onya trauma, you assume a posture of neutrality. So at the end of the day, so when the parliament to about, you can say, yeah, for no, so who's asking, and it's a no can who be, not say, or TM no, not say, wait for yeah. Do you think that he will go against the online kasa or Otia can be? So that is why I said they are just driving into a realm of constitutional absurdity, and if we are not careful, this thing will blow out of hand. Because for the first time, Speaker of Parliament, okay, cannot judge the president. What's what would Asama Baba in Canada? Clearly, he's not somebody or for him to go to that particular extent. Okay, cannot judge the president. Something is going on, and then there are certain persons within the majority side who are also bastardizing and throwing shade at the speaker. So at the end of the day, on the face of it, look at the kind of tension this thing is creating beyond, above the already, your friend is saying, torture situation that we have. The torturous relationship existing in parliament relative to everything being partisan already, grounds and then this thing is coming up. So if you are not careful, your job is to hold us together as a country, to integrate. I know that the one here, you break the cohesion, and this nation will just slip into the abyss. And if you are not careful, everybody will become a victim, because some of these decisions, our capacity, and we will throw the nation into our dark days. Cote d'Ivoire, Samra, Basabasa, Inisi, judges from more money, you know, so we done about Ghana has it. They all run from Cote d'Ivoire. Even though they were judges, Professor Nelson Bemo by beating a hotel and now more, which means there's a managing boomer account. But we're living in a country where consistently people are developing certain perceptions. Say no, judiciary way they are working for government because some of the rulings about him or him. These are impression people have, and you can't begrudge them because consistently, Assembly Free Supreme Court, Baba, 7 judges to say, I say no, obey or disagree, and Kokra 4-7, another one, Baba, Kokra 4-7, then we begin to question, say, then the trend feed into the larger public perception, say these people are really not being fair. They are working for the government. They have become an appendages of a particular power that be, and they are being driven to do things that satisfy the whims and the conveniences of the government that is in power. When people build that particular perception, do you know how dangerous it is? A time will come, people will lose respect for the court. A time will come, court, they best settle on the street. People will become law unto themselves. People will arm themselves. People will take arms to defend themselves without going to the court. Because people are threatening say the next elections, and they are in court. I'm not court to be. And this a banner say a year winter and because you say a court nobody is going to deliver justice. A child say when you hear such sentiments being expressed, even at the national level on TV by top politicians, a child say people have lost trust in the court as an institution, and that is very dangerous. Especially when we are coming from the background where judges have been caught on tape, and they are dispensing justice based on that. And now video is a classic case, and nobody can dispute that. And there are several other, your friends say, conspiracies coming up. A lot of allegations coming, whether they are true. Quite recently, the Chief Justice thereby will be accusing of a bribe. What I say, you see, these things may not be true, but the perception that is building, they are consistent. That then I won't want their far when there be allegation, and people will also, there are other conspiracy theorists. I would say there is no smoke without fire. But the very moment about
some of our workers say people are building perception.
Yeah.
We know say judges, term here. Security. It's security bound. 10 year security bound. Are we getting to a stage where if an opposition, we need election now, or find ways and means to move all the judges out of their, especially the Supreme Court judges, because the current judges they were appointed by a particular president.
Yeah, that is not supposed to be. We see over the years, Rollins depends on appointed judges, but you see, we never at any point in time they elevated a discussion around Supreme Court judges to a level where TV so, and we talk about it. It is about the level of infiltration, the level of infiltration, and people who are known partisan activists find slip into the judiciary. Quite recently, I think there was a guy who contested on a particular party take it. He's been pushed into the High Court and other places. There are other persons. People are even challenging some of the Supreme Court. You see, when you do all these things, people sitting at far, and the rate at which people are being pushed into the Supreme Court. And I think that the last time I checked, over by 11 judges are here push you to the Supreme Court. Yeah, people may argue, say, we more retire, so we need to replace them and those stuff. But you see, my culture says we can get a bastardized, your friend is an executive. The legislature can be bastardized based on their partisan lineages and associations and ties. But one institution that can never lose its neutrality, the judiciary, is the last man standing. So I know the day, if these are the impression that people are building, that the judiciary is not fair, the judiciary is biased, the judiciary is working for a government, president is appointing his friends and cronies, they are dispensing justice based on their lineage, and when you are this political party, you take issue to court, there is no way justice will dispense for you, and that people build impressions. So a time will come, people will lose trust and confidence in the whole judicial setup, like I told you. So a particular government who is also vicious may come and decide to just muzzle the law and throw all of them away. Because the argument will be that people don't have trust in you. And that poses a national security threat to our country. And anything that poses national security threat to a country has to be taken away. And on that particular basis, the whole Supreme Court judges can be bundled together, and then you just put them aside, and then you appoint few people. Okay. That thing may be in a clear violation of the Constitution. But I know that when people have power and they are committed to doing something, and when they bundle you, say, we're a threat to national security, you can't do anything. Because I'm not US from Bombay, your friends say, we see, you know. Nana one is see, and US by desperate, and yet chairman for set up bounty hunters. Nipa bia unim say, or affiliated to Al-Qaeda and Asafo Chenafabra. So I'm going to end up, I'm going to change nipa be no more US, and I'm catch them say, I'm rabbi between the duomo. No, within our status, there is no law between me because, in the worst case scenario, those individuals are, how do you call it, your friends say war criminals or something like that, with me, and I say, we are Emrano bomb home. Ain't it? Then a bit me, your friends say, you bet me, and your information from them. Then they acquire a new designation, they gave it to them, said these people are enemy combatants of state. Over constitution, so that was the new designation that was given to them, enemy combatant of state. Yes, someone in the Dome Kubu, Guantanamo Bay. Emrabia, because who had the status book of the US, there is nowhere you find Emrano Ekasa about who is an enemy combatant of state. They are designated to say, oh, yeah, enemy of state. And on that particular soul basis, those people were kept in Guantanamo Bay. Yeah, Obama buy a be more free. Two be Ghana. Okay. Two be Ghana. That is the strategy that people do. So when people think that who pursue threat to national security, a way they can just find to take you away, and I say, yeah, but I'm there. It's so easy. But I don't want a situation where we will get there. Everybody will lose trust and confidence in the judiciary. They must behave in such a way, say, engender confidence and empower the citizens to have faith in the judiciary. But case Baba Bonton, all the 9 judges, everybody not dissenting, 9 judges, nobody dissenting. Who does that? And these are seasoned, reasonable persons who are learned. At the end of the day, you can't tell us that all of you agree and then nobody. Yes, it's possible, but you see, the rate at which it happening, it created a lot of suspicion for people. What are American? So I think they need to do a lot because Sankomu take judicial notice of the fact that Parliament as a body FED into a larger parliamentary democracy out there, and most of the practices and conventions at Parliament, even the Supreme Court justices, they realize that because these parliamentary customs and conventions play out elsewhere. These are best practices you choose from, and you use that to create your own thing. Just like the Chief Justice, have the discretion and the sole prerogative to appoint who sits on which case. The same way the Speaker is armed with that particular authority, whether the Speaker doesn't belong to a party or not, it's not the issue. The very moment you are Deputy Speaker, you represent people. Once you sit in the Speaker's chair, you are also enjoying the privileges. And that particular case, you are not an MP anymore. You are supposed to be neutral, you are supposed to be impartial, and you are supposed to dispense or preside over affairs without being seen as being overtly partisan or whatever. But this is the thing. Supreme Court, I take it away. So if we are not careful, we are going to create confusion in Parliament, parliamentary business, harmony now over the years. I'm working with we are going to take that particular thing away. And I respect the deputy speakers over the years. They are going to lose it because if you want your original vote, it means that the privileges must be taken away. And I'm urging the Parliament that if they are going to go ahead to implement this particular thing and accord the first deputy speakers of these, your friends, a first vote, original vote, if they are going to give it to them to vote, then the privileges on the table, they should take it away because they don't deserve it. Because you can't win here and come and win here. So you choose one. Either you retain the original vote and let go the privileges, or you just let go the original vote and take the privileges. But it can't be a win-win for you. I think, you see, because a common sense is enough to trigger everybody to realize, hey, the ruling as Supreme Court, the buy, constitutionally, they may get it right. But if you look at the other related things and the fact that when you zoom in Parliament into the picture and the internal for some money to achieve harmony and stuff, clearly, they have just driven the whole country into a realm of a constitutional absurdity. Things will just get off hand, especially when you have such a tension-inspired parliament. Maybe I aware, Parliament is tension-inspired, and you expect everything to quash it and I say the baby form.
Okay, George, if I send a message or say, Ejenim, I agree with Ivan on this issue. Now, yesterday in Parliament, Deputy Finance Minister John Kuma moved a motion for Parliament to approve a 30 million euro loan facility. Finance Minister and his deputies were hopeful.
The country where I come from, the truth is irony. Just like animal farm, justice mean inequity. So who go say the truth? Who go say the truth? Christian can say silence, Islamic leaders silence, kings and queens silence, traditional leaders silence. So who go say the truth? We are the workers of confused call. Now by area why no better. We are the workers of confused call. One guy's out here why no better. Who go say the truth? Who go say the truth? Oh, he need it now. See what I see. So now your friend on a night come at them. Only papi obeka na sembia. So I want one obet you too. Everybody was afraid. To my cottage again, once my boy dumping one and but who go tell the truth? Nanai or say me, Nanso bien person beka wasam because everybody is afraid. Anya safwe muayini, akuku trofo nyina dalima. Who go say the truth? Obiadra konson so to grow your mansa to me be a cacobrafo. Efo anyina ye. Efo. When you know ye. Na so kutrata down na so be dia back or why no keke. Afene fo be manu mo pia fo efo ne cross on my mo. Anya safwe mo ayini. Akuku trofo nyina dalema. Enti who go say the truth? Abaya di bote chino. Yedi bi bebo nyande bi. Kachisa udi oma upipi numa. Would your mind never shine my friend for some? But who go tell the truth?